Remember when Christmas desserts meant more than just another pumpkin spice, something or other from the grocery store bakery? Back in the 1960s and 70s, American kitchens turned out desserts that were bold, colorful, and wonderfully excessive. These weren't trendy recipes from food bloggers. They were real desserts that sat on real holiday tables across the country, made by your grandmother, your neighbor, your Sunday school teacher. Today, we're exploring 25 Christmas desserts that somehow disappeared from our celebrations, taking their boozy glazes, their Technicolor layers, and their unapologetic indulgence with them. Tunnel of Fudge Cake. Tunnel of Fudge Cake won the 1966 Pillsbury Bake-Off and immediately launched a Bundt pan buying frenzy across America. Every housewife needed that distinctive pan to attempt this engineering marvel. The recipe required absolute precision. Butter and sugar creamed until fluffy and pale. Eggs beaten one at a time, ensuring each incorporated completely. Then came the secret ingredient: flour mixed with cocoa powder and an entire box of Pillsbury's Double Dutch Fudge frosting mix. Not prepared frosting, but the dry mix itself. Chopped walnuts folded and last for texture. The crucial part was baking time. Exactly 60 minutes at 350 degrees. Not 55 minutes, not 65 minutes. Exactly 60. Underbaking left the center raw and messy. Overbaking eliminated the signature fudgy tunnel completely. When done perfectly, the outer cake baked through while the center remained molten and intensely chocolatey. The cake had to cool completely in the pan, at least 2 hours. Cutting it warm ruined the tunnel effect entirely. Slicing revealed those concentric rings. Firm chocolate cake on the outside, then progressively fudgier layers, then that molten center. It was chocolate intensity in architectural form. When Pillsbury discontinued that specific frosting mix in the 1980s, home bakers couldn't replicate the tunnel effect accurately. The recipe effectively died, becoming a legend older bakers tell younger ones about. Baked Alaska. Baked Alaska brought impossible science to Christmas dinners. Ice cream and cake going into a hot oven and emerging frozen but beautifully bronzed. It seemed to violate the laws of physics. The base was sponge cake or pound cake topped with hard frozen ice cream shaped into a dome. The entire thing got completely covered in thick meringue made from egg whites whipped with sugar until they formed glossy, stiff peaks. Every bit of ice cream needed complete coverage. Any gaps and it would melt into disaster. The meringue got swirled into decorative peaks with an offset spatula, creating texture and visual interest. Then the entire assembled dessert went into a screaming hot oven, 500 degrees, for just 3 to 5 minutes. The meringue browned quickly while the insulating air pockets kept the ice cream frozen solid. Smart hosts assembled these hours ahead, keeping them frozen until that dramatic oven moment right before serving. Presenting Baked Alaska meant you understood chemistry, had impeccable timing skills, and weren't afraid of showmanship. Flambeing it with rum as you brought it to the table added extra theater that made guests gasp. When dinner parties became casual and show-stopping desserts fell completely from favor, the spectacular dessert died out. Nobody wants to risk embarrassment when frozen cheesecake from Costco is perfectly acceptable. Traditional aged fruitcake. The traditional aged fruitcake wasn't that dense brick people pretend gets passed around for years as a joke. In the 1960s and 70s, making a proper aged fruitcake was a badge of honor that started in September, a full 3 months before Christmas dinner. Grandmothers across suburban America would cream butter with dark brown sugar, beat in eggs one at a time, then carefully fold in flour seasoned with cinnamon, nutmeg, allspice, and cloves. Then came the good stuff. A full pound each of candied citrus peel, those bright red and green glacé cherries, golden raisins, and coarsely chopped walnuts. The batter was so thick with fruit and nuts you could barely stir it. After baking low and slow for 3 hours, the real tradition began. Every single week until Christmas, you'd unwrap the cake from its cheesecloth cocoon, brush it generously with brandy or rum, then wrap it back up tight. The alcohol preserved the cake while infusing every crumb with warmth. By Christmas, you had a cake that was moist, complex, and definitely not suitable for children. This wasn't just dessert. It was a commitment that connected post-war housewives to Victorian traditions. Serving a properly aged fruitcake meant you were organized, you honored your heritage, And you had the patience our instant gratification culture has completely lost. The modern world killed this art form when we decided 3 months was too long to wait for anything. Chocolate fondue. Chocolate fondue turned dessert into participatory entertainment. Bubbling pots of melted chocolate positioned in the table center, surrounded by plates of dipping options and long fondue forks. The fondue pot, usually harvest gold or avocado green ceramic, sat over a sterno flame to keep everything melted. Inside, chocolate chips or chopped baking chocolate melted with heavy cream until silky smooth. A splash of liqueur like Grand Marnier, Kahlua, or Amaretto added sophistication and complexity. Around the pot, arranged attractively on platters, were cube pound cake, fresh strawberries, banana slices, large marshmallows, and cube brownies. Everything needed to be speared on those color-coded fondue forks, so people could track which was theirs. Guests would select their items, spear them carefully, swirl them to the chocolate, then transport them cautiously to their plates, trying not to drip on the tablecloth. This wasn't just dessert. It was an event that stretched over an hour, keeping people at the table talking and laughing. The fondue pot became a wedding gift staple, appearing on every registry between 1968 and 1978. Today, they gathered dust in basements, bright orange or yellow relics from when dinner parties required props and participation. Ambrosia Salad. Ambrosia Salad confused every kid in the 1960s because it showed up right next to the green bean casserole but tasted like dessert. This southern favorite migrated to Christmas tables nationwide during the post-war boom when canned tropical fruits became affordable luxuries for middle-class families. The recipe was simple. Drain cans of mandarin oranges and pineapple chunks, then fold them together with shredded coconut, miniature marshmallows, and those unnaturally red maraschino cherries. The whole thing got bound together with clouds of whipped cream, though some families used sour cream for tang. Chopped pecans added crunch. Some households threw in banana slices that inevitably turned brown by dinner time, but nobody seemed to mind. The mixture chilled overnight in cut glass bowls, the marshmallows softening into the cream and creating this unique texture. The ancient Greeks named it food of the gods, but 1970s Americans made it a staple at every church social, every potluck, every family gathering that mattered. The sweet-tart combination of citrus and cream, the contrast between chewy coconut and soft marshmallow. It existed in that wonderful space between side dish and dessert. Today's food culture can't handle that ambiguity. We need everything categorized, labeled, fitting neatly into its proper place. Ambrosia Salad vanished along with aspic molds and other mayonnaise-based creations that dared to blur the lines. Butterscotch Yule Log. The Butterscotch Yule Log took the fancy French Bûche de Noël and gave a thoroughly American makeover. Traditional French Yule Logs demanded Genoise sponge and chocolate ganache made from imported cocoa. But 1970s homemakers had better ideas and less time. You start with a thin chocolate cake baked on a jelly roll pan. While it was still warm from the oven, you'd spread with instant butterscotch pudding that had been mixed with Cool Whip, then roll up tight. The cake would crack dramatically along the roll, and that was exactly what you wanted because those cracks looked like authentic tree bark. The entire log got frosted with more of that butterscotch pudding mixture. Then you drag a fork lengthwise through the frosting to mimic bark texture. Crushed heat bars or extra butterscotch chips became moss growing on the log. A heavy dusting of powdered sugar created fresh fallen snow. The whole thing sat on silver platters surrounded by plastic holly sprigs. This appeared on holiday tables when convenience foods were celebrated as progress, not scorned as shortcuts. Using instant pudding wasn't cheating. It was modern, efficient, sophisticated. The Butterscotch Yule Log proved you were fancy without actually needing to be fancy, which was perfect for the upwardly mobile middle class. Black Forest Cake. Black Forest Cake brought German sophistication to American Christmas tables, though most homemade versions bore little resemblance to authentic Schwarzwälder Kirschtorte from the Black Forest region. The Americanized 1970s version started with chocolate cake layers, usually from a Betty Crocker or Duncan Hines box mix enhanced with extra egg and oil instead of water for richness. Between each layer went cherry pie filling straight from the can, sweetened whipped cream, and sometimes chocolate pudding for extra decadence. The entire assembled cake got frosted with stabilized whipped cream made from heavy cream whipped with a bit of powdered sugar. Then you'd press chocolate shavings onto the sides, which always fell off dramatically when you cut the first slice. Maraschino cherries crown the top, their chemical red color bleeding slightly into the white cream and creating pink streaks. Authentic German versions use kirsch-soaked sponge cake and sour cherries. American home bakers simplified everything, making it sweeter, richer, easier, and more kid-friendly. The result looked elegant displayed on glass cake stands, those dark and white layers visible from the side. Serving Black Forest cake at Christmas dinner meant you'd attempted something European and impressive. Today's from-scratch cake culture demands farmers market ingredients and complicated techniques, leaving no room for this shortcut spectacular that actually tasted pretty good. Bananas Foster. Bananas Foster brought genuine tableside theater to 1960s Christmas dinners. Flames leaping 3 feet high as the rum ignited in copper chafing dishes positioned on dining room sideboards. Created at Brennan's Restaurant in New Orleans in 1951, this dessert hit peak popularity during the fondue and flambe-obsessed 60s and 70s. The performance started when the host melted butter with dark brown sugar in a pan set over a portable burner, letting it bubble into proper caramel. Sliced bananas went in next, cooking until they just started to soften. Then banana liqueur splashed over them, the alcohol already adding complexity. But the grand finale was pouring in dark rum and tilting the pan toward the flame, creating that dramatic whoosh of fire that made everyone gasp and applaud. The alcohol burned off while caramelizing the sugars even further. The hot sauce got spooned immediately over vanilla ice cream, that perfect contrast of temperatures, creating something spectacular. This wasn't just dessert. It was performance art that required confidence, showmanship, and expensive copper cookware, displayed prominently when not in use. Making Bananas Foster announce you traveled to New Orleans. You dined at fine establishments. You knew how to entertain properly. Today's dinner parties have lost this theatrical element, replaced by store-bought tiramisu that nobody bothers plating nicely. Watergate Salad. Watergate Salad earned its scandalous name during the 1970s, though nobody really knows if it referred to the cover-up green color or some nutty connection to Nixon's political scandal. Either way, the name stuck. This refrigerator dessert combined instant pistachio pudding mix, the powdered kind straight from the box, with can crushed pineapple that you didn't bother draining. The pineapple juice reacted with the pudding mix, creating chemistry without any actual cooking. Many marshmallows and chopped pecans or walnuts folded in next. Then the whole thing got lightened with Cool Whip until it turned pale green and fluffy. No baking, no stovetop, just stirring and chilling overnight. Some families added maraschino cherries for red and green Christmas colors. The result was something that existed in the same category as ambrosia, another salad that was pure dessert pretending to be a side dish. The pistachio flavor was subtle, almost artificial tasting, but that didn't matter. What mattered was effortless preparation, that retro green color that looked so festive, and the fun name that made everyone smile. Kids loved it unconditionally. Adults pretended to be sophisticated while eating bright green fluff with marshmallows. When convenience foods became shameful instead of celebrated, Watergate Salad became a casualty of changing attitudes about what counted as real cooking. Texas Sheet Cake. Texas Sheet Cake earned its name from sheer size. Baked in standard jelly roll pans and cut into small squares, one cake could feed 50 people at church potlucks, which was exactly the point. This chocolate phenomenon started on the stovetop, not in mixing bowls. Butter, cocoa powder, and water got boiled together, then poured over a mixture of flour and sugar sitting in a large bowl. Buttermilk, eggs, baking soda, and vanilla whisked in quickly while everything was still hot. The thin batter spread easily across an entire 18 by 13 inch jelly roll pan, baking fast and even. Here's where the magic happened. The frosting went on while the cake was still oven hot. More butter, cocoa, and milk boiled together, then got mixed with powdered sugar and poured immediately over the steaming cake. It melted into every crack and crevice, creating a fudgy, almost brownie-like top layer. Chopped pecans scattered over the wet frosting added crunch and a touch of class. This cake appeared at every 1970s gathering, where quantity mattered as much as quality. Birthday parties, funeral luncheons, church socials, school events. One pan yielded 48 generous squares with zero fuss. The ultra-thin layers meant maximum frosting to cake ratio, which is what everyone wanted anyway. It was a dessert that proved bigger really was better, at least when feeding a crowd. Pumpkin bread. Pumpkin bread wasn't the trendy fall treat appearing in September that it is today. Back in the 70s, it was a dense, spiced Christmas loaf wrapped in red and green foil and given as hostess gifts throughout December. This quick bread rose to popularity when Ken Pumpkin from Libby's met the Bundt pan boom sweeping America. The recipe was forgiving and nearly foolproof. Beat together vegetable oil instead of butter, both white and brown sugar for complexity, eggs, and that entire 15-ounce can of pumpkin puree. Fold in flour mixed with baking soda, cinnamon, nutmeg, cloves, and ginger. Chopped walnuts or pecans added crunch and made it seem more sophisticated. The batter divided between two standard loaf pans, baking until a toothpick came out clean. The texture was impossibly moist, almost pudding-like in the center, and the loaves stayed fresh for over a week. That combination of spices filled entire houses with the smell of Christmas. Women baked dozens of loaves each December, wrapping them in festive foil for neighbors, teachers, mail carriers, and anyone who'd done them a kindness that year. Unlike pumpkin pie, which required crust-making skills and blind baking knowledge, this bread was genuinely foolproof. You couldn't mess it up even if you tried. This generous tradition disappeared when gift-giving culture shifted toward fancy chocolates in expensive boxes. The homemade touch became less valued than the price tag. Pineapple upside-down cake. Pineapple upside-down cake turned humble cast-iron skillets into edible art with those perfect caramelized pineapple rings and bright red cherries arranged like Christmas ornaments. This dessert exploded across America in the 1960s thanks to aggressive marketing from Dole promoting their canned pineapple. The technique was straightforward, but required confidence. You'd melt butter with brown sugar directly in a cast iron skillet on the stovetop, creating a bubbling caramel layer. Pineapple rings got arranged in precise circles, 7 rings fitting perfectly in a 10-inch skillet. Maraschino cherries centered in each hole, with extra cherries filling gaps. Yellow cake batter, made from scratch by experienced bakers or from Duncan Hines mix by everyone else, poured over the arranged fruit. The whole thing baked until golden brown and a toothpick came out clean. Then came the crucial moment. One confident motion, inverting the hot skillet onto a serving plate, revealing that glossy, caramelized fruit pattern. Every church cookbook published between 1965 and 1975 featured at least 3 versions. It graced Formica countertops across suburban America, still warm and releasing steam, while brown sugar syrup pooled around each slice. The combination of buttery cake and tangy pineapple, that crackling caramelized edge, created something that felt exotic but achievable. Modern food trends favor artisanal complications and unusual flavor combinations. This simple, foolproof beauty got left behind in the shuffle. Mississippi mud pie. Mississippi mud pie lived up to its name in every way. Dense, fudgy, utterly indulgent chocolate that looked like river bottom and tasted like every chocolate lover's dream. The crust started with crushed Oreo cookies mixed with melted butter, pressed firmly into pie plates, and chilled until solid. The filling was pure decadence. Melted chocolate chips, butter, eggs, sugar, and often a shot of bourbon or Kahlua beat until glossy and thick. This mixture spread into the prepared crust, then baked just until set with a crackly top like brownies. After cooling, miniature marshmallows got scattered across the entire surface. Then the pie went under the broiler for maybe 2 minutes, just until the marshmallows toasted golden brown and started melting. The final layer was chocolate ganache or fudge sauce poured over everything, with dollops of whipped cream and chopped pecans on top. Every single layer had a different texture. Crunchy cookie crust, dense fudgy filling, melted marshmallows, silky ganache, airy whipped cream. It was excessive and completely unapologetic about it. Serve at Christmas. Mississippi mud pie announced you weren't counting calories. You weren't worried about sophistication or balance. You were diving face first into chocolate excess, and everyone was welcome to join. Modern desserts aim for restraint and nuanced flavors, which is exactly why this gloriously over-the-top creation died out. Bacardi Rum Cake. Bacardi Rum Cake turned inexpensive dark rum into liquid gold, creating what was genuinely the moistest cake ever to grace a Christmas dessert table. Yellow cake mix got enhanced with instant vanilla pudding mix, eggs, oil, water, and a generous pour of dark Bacardi rum. Chopped pecans or walnuts scattered across the bottom of a greased Bundt pan before the batter poured over them. After baking until golden, the crucial step began immediately. While the cake was still oven hot, you'd poke it full of holes with a wooden skewer. Then you pour over a butter sugar rum sauce made by boiling butter, sugar, water, and a full cup of rum until syrupy. The cake stayed in the pan for hours, sometimes overnight, absorbing every single drop of that sauce. The result was devastatingly moist, almost pudding-like in texture, with a crunchy caramelized nut layer on top once you flipped out a pan. It tasted far more sophisticated than its cake mix origins suggested. The rum wasn't subtle at all. You could taste it, smell it, practically feel it warming you from the inside. Responsible hosts warned designated drivers before serving. Modern liability concerns and changing attitudes about alcohol in family desserts killed this booze-forward tradition completely. Butterscotch Haystacks. Butterscotch Haystacks look like miniature golden haystacks scattered across wax paper, requiring zero baking skills and maximum butterscotch chips from Nestle. These no-bake candies started with butterscotch chips melted in a double boiler or carefully in the microwave until completely smooth. Then came the unexpected ingredient: crunchy chow mein noodles, those crispy things from La Choy cans. The noodles got stirred into melted butterscotch until every strand was coated. Some recipes added salted peanuts or cashews for extra crunch and salt contrast. Using 2 spoons, you drop mounds onto wax paper laid out on kitchen counters, shaping them into rough haystack forms while the butterscotch was still warm and workable. They set up at room temperature in about 30 minutes, becoming chewy, crunchy, bite-sized treats that disappeared fast. Kids could make these completely unsupervised, which made them wildly popular for school Christmas parties and scout troop gatherings. The combination of sweet butterscotch coating against salty, crunchy noodles created something genuinely addictive. They stored well in decorative tins for weeks, actually improving over several days as flavors melded. Modern candy culture favors artisanal chocolates with single-origin cocoa percentages listed prominently. These humble butterscotch clusters got forgotten in the rush toward sophistication. Divinity Candy. Divinity Candy tested Southern grandmother's skills every Christmas. This temperamental meringue-based confection succeeded only on low humidity days, which made December perfect for production across most of America. The recipe required precision. Sugar, corn syrup, and water boiled together to exactly 260 degrees Fahrenheit. Hardball stage verified with candy thermometers. Meanwhile, egg whites whipped to stiff peaks in stand mixers running at high speed. The boiling syrup then drizzled slowly into the whipped whites while the mixer continued running, creating a glossy, marshmallow-like mixture that started setting up almost immediately. Vanilla extract and chopped pecans folded in at the very end, working quickly before hardened. You drop spoonfuls onto wax paper, creating fluffy white clouds. The candy dried for several hours, developing a slight crust while staying chewy inside. Making successful Divinity was genuinely a badge of honor. High humidity ruined batches completely, making them weep or refuse to set properly. Experienced candy makers check weather forecasts before attempting production. The pure white color, often tinted pink with food coloring for Christmas, looked angelic on candy plates lined with doilies. It tasted like sweetened clouds with nutty crunch. Today's instant gratification culture has no patience for humidity-dependent candy, requiring precision timing and weather cooperation. Oatmeal Scotchies. Oatmeal Scotchies were Nestle's answer to chocolate chip cookies, swapping chocolate for butterscotch chips in chewy oatmeal rounds that showed up in every Christmas cookie tin. The dough started by creaming butter with both white and brown sugar until light and fluffy. Eggs and vanilla beat in next. Flour, baking soda, cinnamon, and salt got mixed separately, then combined with old-fashioned oats until the dough became thick and hearty. An entire bag of butterscotch chips folded in last, dropped by rounded tablespoons onto cookie sheets. They baked until golden at the edges but still soft in the centers. The trick was pulling them from the oven when they looked slightly underbaked. They'd finish setting on the cooling rack, creating that perfect chewy texture. These cookies appeared in Christmas cookie tins throughout the 1960s and 70s. Their golden butterscotch color perfect for holiday presentations. The combination of chewy oats, sweet butterscotch, and warm cinnamon created something both comforting and different from standard chocolate chip cookies. When butterscotch fell catastrophically out of fashion, replaced by salted caramel and dark chocolate, these homey cookies disappeared from rotation. The butterscotch chip section at grocery stores shrank from an entire shelf to one lonely bag. Redford Cake. Redford Cake supposedly got its name because it was better looking than Robert Redford himself, which was an incredibly bold claim during the 1970s when he was arguably Hollywood's most handsome leading man. This no-bake layered dessert started with crust combining flour, chopped pecans, and melted butter pressed into a 9 by 13-inch pan and baked until golden brown. After cooling completely, you'd spread a layer of sweetened cream cheese mixed with Cool Whip across the nutty crust. The next layer was chocolate or vanilla instant pudding made slightly thicker than package directions specified. Spread carefully and chilled until completely set. More Cool Whip went on top, covering everything in white clouds. Then the whole thing got decorated with chocolate shavings, additional pecans, or drizzled chocolate sauce, creating patterns. Each layer had completely distinct texture and flavor. Crunchy nutty crust, tangy cream cheese, rich pudding, airy whipped topping. It appeared at church potlucks, bridge club meetings, and Christmas dinners throughout the 70s. The no-bake convenience meant anyone could make it successfully, yet those multiple layers looked genuinely impressive. When dessert culture began demanding actual baking skills over assembly skills, Redford Cake quietly faded away. If you're enjoying this trip down memory lane, make sure to hit that subscribe button. We've got more food history videos coming your way. Harvey Wallbanger Cake. Harvey Wallbanger Cake brought the popular 1970s cocktail into dessert form, complete with orange flavor and a hefty dose of Galliano liqueur from that distinctive tall yellow bottle. This boozy Bundt cake started with yellow cake, mixed combined with instant vanilla, pudding mix for extra moisture. Eggs, vegetable oil, orange juice, vodka, and Galliano all beat together until smooth, creating batter that smelled decidedly adult. Everything poured into a greased and floured Bundt pan, then baked until golden brown, and pulling away from the sides. While still warm, you'd poke holes all across the top surface with wooden skewers. Then you'd slowly pour glaze made from powdered sugar, more orange juice, and more Galliano over the entire cake, letting it soak deep into those holes and create pockets of intense flavor throughout. The finished cake tasted distinctly adult, orange forward with subtle anise notes from the Galliano. Serving this at your holiday party announced that your gathering was sophisticated, modern, maybe a little bit wild. It sat on sideboards next to actual Harvey Wallbanger cocktails mixed in pitchers. When cocktail culture shifted away from sweet liqueur-based drinks toward martinis and craft mixology, these boozy cakes vanished too. The connection between trendy drinks and trendy desserts broke completely. Grasshopper Pie. Grasshopper Pie brought mint green magic to Christmas tables, tasting exactly like the creme de menthe cocktail. It was named after and looking like something from outer space. The crust started with crushed Oreos or chocolate wafer cookies mixed with melted butter, pressed firmly into pie plates and chilled solid. The filling combined marshmallow cream or melted marshmallows with heavy cream whipped until fluffy, then folded together with green creme de menthe and clear creme de cacao liqueurs. Some versions added extra drops of green food coloring for that truly vibrant, almost neon color. The mixture chilled in the refrigerator for several hours, setting up into something mousse-like and pale mint green. Whipped cream rosettes and chocolate shavings decorated the top, sometimes with drizzles of chocolate sauce, creating contrast. This pie screamed 1970s sophistication. Minty, boozy, artificially colored, and named after a cocktail that young women ordered at nice restaurants. It looked stunning on dessert tables, that pale green filling creating dramatic contrast against the dark chocolate cookie crust. The mint flavor wasn't natural peppermint extract. It was sweet, liqueur smooth, decidedly adult. When health trends vilified artificial colors and cocktail culture moved toward craft mixology with fresh ingredients, Grasshopper Pie became an instant relic. banana pudding. This dessert traces back to the late 1800s when it was inspired by English trifle. American cooks adapted the concept by layering sliced bananas and vanilla wafers to create something distinctly American. When National Biscuit Company introduced Nilla wafers in 1898, banana pudding found its perfect partner, and the combination became unstoppable across the South. The authentic 1970s Christmas version started with real custard made from scratch on the stovetop. Whole milk, sugar, egg yolks, and cornstarch cooked together in a heavy saucepan, while you stirred constantly, watching it transform from thin liquid to thick custard that coated the back of a wooden spoon. Vanilla extract went at the very end, off the heat so it wouldn't cook off. Then came the assembly, preferably in a cut glass trifle bowl, so everyone could admire the layers through sides. Vanilla wafers arranged on the bottom in overlapping circles. Sliced bananas layered over the cookies. Hot custard poured carefully over everything, the heat softening the wafers immediately. Another layer of wafers and bananas, more custard, repeating until the bowl filled up. The traditional top layer was real meringue made from those leftover egg whites whipped with sugar to glossy, stiff peaks, spread across the entire surface and swirled into decorative peaks. The whole thing went under the broiler for just 2 or 3 minutes until the meringue tips turned golden brown. The assembled dessert chilled overnight in the refrigerator. The wafers softened into the custard, creating something that wasn't quite cake, wasn't quite pudding, but absolutely perfect. The bananas released their flavor throughout. The meringue stayed light and airy on top. It showed up at church gatherings, family reunions, and Christmas dinners where it disappeared before the turkey leftovers got wrapped up. Making it properly, with real cooked custard and real meringue, was a labor of love that connected Southern cooks to generations of tradition. Today's versions rely on instant vanilla pudding from boxes and Cool Whip instead of meringue, which is fine and certainly easier, but not quite the same as that thick, cooked custard with real egg whites beaten perfection. The original took time, attention, and genuine cooking skills, which made it special when it appeared on holiday tables. Tomato Soup Fruitcake. Tomato Soup Fruitcake sounds absolutely insane until you remember how carrot cake works. Vegetables create moisture and subtle flavor in completely unexpected ways. This Depression-era recipe found new life during the 1960s when Campbell's promoted it heavily in magazine advertisements. The method was straightforward. Cream butter with sugar, beat in eggs, then add an entire condensed tomato soup straight from the can without diluting it. Flour mixed with baking soda, cinnamon, cloves, and nutmeg got folded in alternately with the soup. Raisins, candied fruit, and chopped nuts studded the thick, rust-colored batter. It baked low and slow like traditional fruit cake, developing a deep reddish-brown color. Here's the remarkable thing. The tomato flavor was completely undetectable in the finished cake. Instead, it provided acidity and moisture that kept the cake tender for weeks without any alcohol preservation. The soup's salt content enhanced the spices. The natural sugars in tomatoes complemented the candied fruits. It was culinary chemistry that worked despite seeming completely wrong. Serving, it created conversation, which was half the point of holiday entertaining. When convenience food marketing fell out of favor, recipes like this got dismissed as corporate gimmicks rather than legitimate baking innovations. Hello Dolly's Magic Cookie Bars. Hello Dolly's, also called Magic Cookie Bars depending on which cookbook you own, required exactly 6 ingredients and 0 mixing bowls. This was pure 1970s convenience magic. The method was almost too simple. Melt an entire stick of butter in a 9 by 13-inch pan directly in a 350-degree oven. Tilt the pan to coat the bottom completely. Graham cracker crumbs pressed into that melted butter formed the crust. Next came layers without any mixing whatsoever. Chocolate chips scattered across the graham crackers in an even layer, then butterscotch chips, then shredded sweetened coconut, then chopped pecans or walnuts. The final ingredient was sweetened condensed milk from a can, poured slowly over everything, seeping down through all those layers and binding them together. The whole thing baked until golden brown and bubbling at the edges, about 25 minutes. Cutting them while still warm was impossible. They needed overnight chilling to set properly into bars you could actually pick up. The sweetened condensed milk created magic, binding everything into chewy, gooey bars with crispy edges. Every layer remained distinct but cohesive. Kids made these for Christmas gifts because failure was nearly impossible. Modern desserts require technique, precision, skill. These required only the ability to open packages and pour, which some people consider beneath them. Cranberry Soufflé Salad. Cranberry Soufflé Salad wasn't actually a soufflé at all. It was frozen cranberry fluff that sat in the freezer until serving time, requiring make-ahead planning that actually reduced Christmas Day stress. Whole berry cranberry sauce combined with crushed pineapple, both drained thoroughly to prevent ice crystals. Whipped cream folded in gently along with miniature marshmallows and chopped walnuts for texture. Some recipes added a dollop of mayonnaise or softened cream cheese for tang and stability. The mixture spread into 9 by 13 pans or spooned into individual muffin tins lined with paper cups, then frozen solid for at least 6 hours. Served frozen or partially thawed, it had an airy, almost ice cream-like texture. The name soufflé made it sound fancy, French, sophisticated. The reality was simpler, but no less delicious. The tart cranberries balanced perfectly against the sweet whipped cream. The frozen texture was genuinely refreshing after heavy holiday meals loaded with turkey, stuffing, and gravy. The genius was that you could make it weeks ahead. Pull it from the freezer Christmas morning and let it soften slightly while you dealt with everything else. Modern culture's rejection of frozen convenience desserts and deep suspicion of Cool Whip killed this make-ahead marvel that actually served a practical purpose. Lime Christmas Jell-O Salad. Lime Christmas Jell-O Salad brought unnaturally bright green shimmer to holiday spreads, proving gelatin could suspend absolutely anything while still looking festive. Lime Jell-O dissolved in boiling water, then cold water or 7-Up added for carbonation and extra sweetness. Before it fully set, you'd fold and drain crushed pineapple, cottage cheese, or softened cream cheese for tang, mini marshmallows, chopped celery for unexpected crunch, and sometimes chopped pecans for sophistication. The mixture poured into ring molds or 9 by 13 dishes, then chilled overnight until firm enough to handle. Unmolding required briefly dipping the mold in warm water, then inverting confidently onto lettuce-lined platters. The center of ring molds often filled with additional whipped cream or mayonnaise-based dressing. The flavor combination seems bizarre to modern palates. Sweet gelatin mixed with tangy cheese and crunchy vegetables. But 1960s and 70s palates loved this sweet savory confusion that nobody could quite categorize. The bright lime green color looked incredibly festive next to cranberry sauce and the turkey. It was called salad despite being pure sugar and artificial flavor, which made it somehow acceptable to serve alongside actual vegetables. When gelatin molds fell catastrophically out of style in the 1980s, these architectural wonders vanished completely. So there you have it, 25 Christmas desserts that filled our grandmother's kitchens with the smells of butterscotch, rum, cinnamon, and pure possibility. These weren't Instagram-worthy creations with perfect drips and edible gold leaf arranged just so. They were real desserts made by real people who value tradition, bold flavors, and the connections created when families gathered around holiday tables loaded with food made from scratch and love. Some required patience, like that fruitcake brushed with brandy every week for 3 months. Some required showmanship, like Banana's Foster Flame tableside while guests gasped. Some required precision, like Tunnel of Fudge Cake baked for exactly 60 minutes. And some required absolutely nothing but the ability to open cans and stir, like those Hello Dollies that tasted just as good as anything complicated. What they all had in common was this. They vanished from our modern celebrations, victims of changing tastes, convenience culture backlash, shifting attitudes about alcohol and family desserts, and our collective decision that artificial colors and Cool Whip were somehow shameful instead of practical. Which of these desserts do you remember from your own childhood Christmases? Did your grandmother make that impossible baked Alaska that seemed to defy physics? Did you help assemble Robert Redford cake layers for church potlucks? Did the smell of Texas sheet cake frosting poured over hot chocolate cake fill your kitchen every December? Drop a comment below and share your memories. Tell us which ones you like to see make a comeback, and which ones maybe deserve to stay in the past where they belong. And if you enjoyed this journey through food history, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you don't miss our next video. We'll be exploring more forgotten foods that shaped American celebrations, from the Jell-O salads of the 1950s to the casseroles that defined potluck culture. Thanks for watching. And here's to bringing back some of that 1970s Christmas magic to our modern tables. Even if we draw the line at lime Jell-O with celery,